Singh online. Thank you very much for your very comprehensive and informative presentation on the Indian economy. You mentioned that India is really looking for net foreign direct investment from Korea. I would like to explore one particular question. As you may know,
I'm not getting the English translation.
Okay.
If you're speaking English, okay.
Then, should I repeat from the beginning? Yeah, I appreciate your very comprehensive treatment on the Indian economy. It really updated us. You emphasized the importance of the Korea's net foreign direct investment into Korea. In this regard, maybe as you may know, the Pohang steel mill has tried many years to install the very large scale plant in Oris, state of the Oris. And I know that somehow end of the last year or early this year, the local government somehow permitted the Pohang steel mill go ahead. But if you have any idea, the Indian bureaucracy takes time, and also local residents somehow oppose problems of this. And I have the second question. Okay, I was really impressed on your description on the energy situation in India. And would you like to tell us a little bit about India's position on the nuclear power development, in which Korea is also very much interested in to explore further a mutual collaboration? Thank you very much.
Well, on the Pohang steel, the POSCO plant, it's a very important investment, we know. And I'm aware that it has taken a little too long, no question about it. But it was one of the first occasions when a foreign company got into a mining-based industry. And the truth is that a lot of our liberalization, did not actually extend into mining. I believe that the most recent position is that the environment, the forest clearance, which is given by the central government, and was a very important requirement, that has now been obtained. So the company now has, I think, all the clearances that are necessary. But it now has to buy the land from the local residents. And my understanding is that there are some pockets of local residents who are not happy with selling out their land. Now, this is not something that the central government can sort out easily. But my own guess is that they have enough of the land, and this is simply a negotiation that they'll do with the local residents. The best thing would be to let the company do it and not make it into an issue. And I'm reasonably confident that they will be able to do it, because these are very small communities. Very often, small communities have a particular view, a very traditional view. But it should be possible for POSCO to resolve this problem by giving them a good deal, whatever it is. I would say, by the way, that there are many Korean companies that have gone into the world of manufacturing, and none of these problems arise. Mining is actually very special. In India's case, a lot of our minerals are located, if they were located in barren land, which is desert, it would have been very easy. They are located pretty much where our forests are. So you have the forest protection lobby that is not or rather forest protection stakeholders, who don't call them lobbies. They're very concerned that mining should not destroy the forests. We also have a lot of traditional forest dwellers. Now, this group is only 6% of the total population of India. But the point is, they happen to be in the forest area, so virtually all mining exploitation involves keeping them along with you. And frankly, it's not the fault of POSCO. We haven't done enough work to lay out a framework where people would see that a fair, transparent deal is being done for all these communities. It's also true that there are external people who whip up a lot of antipathy. Many of them are actually anti-development. They're not just anti-foreigners. They don't want even the Indian companies to go and do mining there. So it's a complicated social cum political thing. And I do hope that the POSCO project, now that it's got all the governmental clearances, will resolve these issues. And I think, when it's set up, if it's set up as a modern mining operation, which can be subjected to scrutiny, so that 5 years down the road, everybody feels that this was an excellent project, and that the local community themselves get up and say, they've built a lot of schools, they've done all kinds of things, and we are very happy. I think this will make a huge, huge difference. Now I realize that, so POSCO is paying the cost of being a front runner in this. But then life is full of those kinds of things. It's a very big project. So I can only say that yes, it's been delayed. I'm glad the government clearances are through, and I hope the company will be able to resolve these. The local state government is very supportive, and so is the central government. So now it's just a matter of dealing with these things. On the issue of nuclear power, we do regard nuclear power as a positive factor for India, and we have ambitious plans to expand our reliance on nuclear power. I know that the Fukushima plant accident, very tragic, has made a number of people think. We have to remember that the accident didn't occur because of something actually which went wrong in the plant. It occurred because of an unbelievable tsunami, which led to a lot of disruption of electrical supply, and I think that does show that there was some lack of fail-safe planning, if you like. It wasn't the engineering of the plant or anything like that caused a problem. I know that around the world, I'm sure that people are rethinking safety, and I'm quite sure that we will be looking at Fukushima and trying to do better risk analysis, or what are the kinds of things that could go wrong, and that we should be prepared for. But we are not taking the view which some countries, even Japan is taking, because I was told in the Global Green Growth Summit by one of the Japanese speakers that they want to scale down nuclear power. But that is not the view that the government of India is taking at all. And that's not the view that, some European countries are taking that view, but France is not taking that view. So we are not the only ones, I think. Yes.
Today I have found here, this fiscal year, your current account is positive here. But according to IMF or ADB forecast, most of them, the difference between China and India is current account surplus or deficit. But India, requires huge amount of investment for especially infrastructure. And then how do you foresee in the coming future about your current account situation, including the FDI or some of net foreign capital inflow? That's my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know what the paper said. We have a current account deficit. So if there's a positive number there, it's because it's a current account deficit. If it had been a current account surplus, the number would have been negative. So maybe that's the confusion. So I'll tell you, our current account deficit is about 2.5% of GDP. At some stage this year, people thought it might be higher, but it's probably going to be around 2.5%. Now, in net terms, 2.5% of GDP is about net inflow of about 40 billion. We would get that partly through borrowing and partly through foreign direct investment and partly through foreign institutional investors. Our preference is to maximize the reliance on foreign direct investment. We want to keep foreign borrowing in dollars or in foreign currency under some control. We don't actually mind foreigners, and we've relaxed the possibility for foreigners to invest in rupee-denominated debt. I mean, it doesn't matter who's holding the debt. We just don't want to take too much foreign exchange exposure. And as far as FII investment, portfolio investment is concerned, we are actually not negative. I know that it's volatile and there are periods when you could expect to see an outflow. But I think in any medium-term sense, India is underinvested in. So if somebody were to look at their overall portfolio, I mean, clearly it makes a lot of sense for people to invest more in China than in India, because the Chinese economy is, whatever, 3.5 times the Indian economy. But the amount that people have invested is not 3.5 times of India, they've invested much more. So we think that any portfolio rebalancing, just to bring it into a relative scale, India is underinvested in. And therefore, now whether that investment flows as foreign direct investment, it's true that in the public mind, foreign direct investment they like. I mean, you go there, you build a factory, people love that. I personally don't see, if you want to buy a factory and it's available for sale, nothing wrong with that either. And I would go further and say that we are open to foreign direct investment in our stock market. India's stock market actually, in terms of quality, benchmarked against most stock markets in developing countries, would rank very high. I think in terms of economic reforms, transparency, trading technologies, regulation, etc., the Indian stock market is run very well. So I would not be surprised if people want to come, and particularly if you're thinking of pension funds and so on. I mean, they're not interested in coming and buying a company and running it, but they might be interested in sort of a fairly broad exposure into different parts of the Indian economy. So we're quite willing to see foreign investors come and buy the stock market. And all of that will help us to finance the current account deficit. You know, in the paper what I say is that we need much more investment in infrastructure in the next 3 or 4 years, because that is the obvious deficiency in India. We have been doing some of it and we are seeing good results as a result of that, and we need to do more. I would say that, you know, if the foreign investment is financing infrastructure, I don't mind a current account deficit of 3% of GDP. But most Indians will be comfortable at 2.5%. So we are not at all, we have a sense of what is a reasonable current account deficit. Somewhere between 2.5% and 3%, with a lot of it coming from FDI and maybe some FII and a little bit through borrowing. Borrowing is still controlled. I mean, you cannot borrow freely. And the Reserve Bank limits the amount of borrowing which a company